The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi all, good morning. Hi Sandeep, good morning. Hi Vipul. Yeah, hi Rishabh. Let's start by another couple of minutes. I'm just setting up my network over here. Give me 2 minutes. I will start with the session for today. Okay. Yep. Hi Tarak. Hi Rajan. All set for today. Let's go ahead. So we are to discuss about the Azure Storage, which is the content for today's module. And here we go, planning and implementing your Azure Storage Services. So let me get into the presentation. Yep. So full screen. Yes. Here we go. So by the end of this module, you'll be able to achieve the following objectives, where we are going to make sense about which should be the appropriate Microsoft Azure storage account, which you'll be using for different business scenarios as such. Let's say, for example, when you can use blobs, when you can use files, tables, and the queues that you have. We will also work on implementing the Azure Storage Services. We will check about how to implement your Azure Storage and how to put up your files, how to sync your files between the on-premise machines and the cloud machines, or even between the cloud virtual machines as such. And the storage blobs will be dealing about how you can put up your unstructured data. Let's say that you have bundles of unstructured data and you need to create a container into it. You're going to push your data in. So in those cases, how it's going to work would be your part there. And then you have implementing Azure CDN. Azure CDN is where you will be having the content delivery network. The content delivery network will ensure that you will be having a cache, okay, and it will make sure that your data is always available to your customers compared towards the existing on-premise. I mean, it might be a master data center instead of making it for each and every time. So that's Azure CDN. That's the content delivery network. And followed by that, we also have things like your storage access. So you can generate a SAS token. You have a SAS token, and you can put up your SAS token with your shared access signature. That makes sense that we will make sure that we will give key, which is for read access or which is for write access, or let's say both read and write access as such. So for all those things, you'll be getting it. And you can also configure the diagnostics, monitoring, and managing the tools. So configuring the diagnostics account is to keep your Azure Storage account to be secure. So this will help you to make sense that you will take your storage account and you will keep it to be secured as such. Okay. So there, let's get into the topic in detail, and we shall start with what an Azure Storage was all about. So the Azure Storage is, in short, it is a storage account. It's like a normal storage account that you have to store all your data. Let's say that it could be your unstructured data, it could be your backup that you take as a VHD files. Okay, so it can be of anything, and it can also go up with your high availability and performing with high durability and scalability functionalities. So let me tell you a few examples that, let's say that if a primary data center region goes down, Azure will come up with a secondary data center saying it as a geo-redundant storage. You have something called as replication modes that comes up with locally redundant, geo-redundant, zone redundant, read access geo-redundant, like that. So this geo-redundant storage or even the locally redundant storage will ensure that your data will be available to the customers in case if there's some sort of downtime that's happening on your storage account. And it also gives you an ability with security. You have a separate VPC layer as well. I mean the virtual network layer. So it helps you on providing a good secured environment. It's highly durable. It's not so easy that you can encrypt or you can decrypt the data what you have it on the Azure storage account. It's task redundant. You can do task with Visual Studio, or you can do it from your Azure Storage Explorer, or let's even say from the PowerShell environment. So anything could be easy for access over here. It is also scalable. You can scale it up at any moment of time. So there goes that the work of all these things going to be in a much better way. Let me speak about the different account types that you have in your storage account. So there are two types of accounts that you have, which is general purpose account, and the another one is your blob storage account. The general purpose account comes up with the functionalities of all the four things. That's your blobs, files, tables, and queues. Whereas your the next one, that is your blob storage account, comes up with just only one thing called as your your blob alone. You can just put up your unstructured data, nothing else. So that's another factor that you have. Now let me get into it. Here you can see that in your storage account, we have blobs, files, tables, and queues. So the blob that you can find here is nothing but the containers. So you're going to create containers, and inside your containers, you're going to have all your blobs. And this blob can have images, it can have documents, it can have videos, audios, anything. So it's unstructured data. Let's say that even your page backup of what you have in your OS can also be here. Further, you have tables. The tables is where you would be giving up all your entities. So what you will do here is that let's say that you will create a table which can do all the basic CRUD operations, and you're just to insert data. That's it. It's not like you're going to perform any SQL database or anything like that. So this is like you're going to push the data. Okay, so this can be like a normal, let's say if you're developing a registration, a mobile registration app or something like that, then you can use this. Okay, so this is a mobile app that we have, and followed by that, the lower end that you have here is called as mobile app, and the next one that we have is tables. And next to the tables, you have something called as Cosmos DB. I hope you guys should have had an awareness about it. It's a NoSQL database again, where you can work with the Cosmos DB and you can put up all your data into it. The finally comes your files. The files is for the directory synchronization. So you can synchronize your directories between the on-premise and the cloud machines, okay, or even between the server machines. So that can be done using files. Now let me get into topic of blobs in detail, and I will also go for a demo of the same. So the blobs are nothing but it's going to be basically any sort of data that you're going to store it on your computer, or let's say in your mobile or any other device. Now the point here is that it's going to support you for unstructured. Unstructured in the sense it's going let's say that it might be videos, it might be VHD backups that you're going to take, or let's even say that it could be your I mean any sort of containers. That is your page backup containers. Okay, so you can take all these things, and once when you take a backup of all these things, at last you will come up with an endpoint called as REST endpoint URL. So that REST endpoint URL will come up with two other keys again, and you have accessibility as public level of access or just for the container level of access, all these things. So you can use this to put up your unstructured data. Blob is just to put up all your unstructured data. The next comes your files. The file is a fully managed service. You'll be using SMB protocol here. And once by using your SMB protocol, you'll be sharing your files between the on-premise machine and the cloud machines. So that's your files that we have. And this can work even between the cloud machines. Okay, it's just like how you have your Dropbox configured in your account. So you can put up that. And further, we have something called as tables. Tables is a NoSQL data on cloud. You have a schemaless representation over here. You're just going to put up your data sets, which can help you for other statistical informations. So that's tables. And queue is the messaging that you will be using here. So queue is used to store and you can retrieve your messages here. Any sort of asynchronous process, you can do it by means of queue. Okay, so this can support up to 64 KB in size, and it provides cloud messaging between your application components capability. This has a capacity limit, okay, and that's based upon your storage account, what you own it. So that's about queue. Any questions on these things? Yeah. Can you repeat table storage again? Yeah, of course. See, table storage is a NoSQL database. Okay, here it's not a relation database, it's schemaless database. So when I say schemaless database, you're not going to put up any foreign key or any index, right? Primary key, anything like that. So what you'll be doing here is that you're just going to create a table, let's say with a column name, first name, last name. So once when you give all these things, you're going to enter the details that you will push the data from your mobile app. Okay, the client app that you're going to develop. Are you clear, Harsha? So this is a NoSQL representation that you have. Why would we have two different types of accounts, general or blob? Any use case explanations, please? Hi, Rishabh. Yes, this is commonly like a cost cutoff. Let's say if you're using storage account, you're to pay for your blobs, files, tables, or queues, all these things, right? And you're going to pay for as much as you're going to use as well. Now, here the point is that when I say blobs, I'm dedicatedly going to have an environment where only blobs will be available. Let's say if it's going to be Hotstar or Ghana.com, something like that, you will put up the data which is about the blob alone. Whereas when I go for this one, I mean like the normal storage account that we have, I can come up with tables as well. Say for example, I'm going to have an app for my website. Okay, the website could be like any event website, like Microsoft Virtual Academy or something, or let's even say Edureka. I can have a separate application form as well, which is a NoSQL application form, and that data I can store it on the tables, Azure tables that we have. So in those cases, we can use the general purpose one. And the general purpose one will also have something called as hot tier and cool tier. The hot tier is where you can store all your frequently accessed data, and the cool tier is where you can store all your infrequent access of data. Are you clear, Rishabh? When would we have a blob account? Blob account is, let's say that you want to put up it's like just a normal storage account. If you want to create a backup of your data drive that you have with your virtual machine or anything like that, then you can use Blob account. You have different types as blob, page blob, append blob, like that. Is that okay? What type of account gets created for Cloud Shell? It depends, like you need to define it. But when you make a Cloud Shell, then it's going to be a blob account that it gets created. So you'll be having just a blob account, and in the blob account, you'll be running your commandlets there. See, there will be a couple of things that will get created. One is the storage account to run Cloud Shell itself. That's a blob one. And using Cloud Shell as well, you can also create a secondary, let's say, another storage account. So that's another one that you have with the Cloud Shell. Well then, let's go ahead. I would just close this. I will go for exploring about the storage accounts. Okay, so I'll go to my Azure account. Yes. So here I can go for create a resource, and you should find that in storage I have Azure storage account. So storage account blobs files tables queues. I'll click on this, and here you can create a storage account. Okay. So here, I hope you can find it on the screen. You have general purpose V2. V2 is the one which supports for hot tier and cool tier, and you have the blob storage. So let me get into the demo. Probably what I would do is I would just go for PowerShell first, so that you can make sense how we can do it on PowerShell, and then we can work with this the normal storage account that we have in the uh, on your GUI environment. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with creating a container using PowerShell environment. I hope you guys remember that we created a VM on the very first day named as a lab VM. So I will go there and I will start the virtual machine. Let's wait until it gets started. Hope it's getting started. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions meanwhile, please. Yes. So the VM has been created. I'll just copy this IP address and I'll try to go connect for this VM. Click on copy. I'll go for remote desktop. Screenshot this. So the first demo which we are to perform here is about creating a storage account from your PowerShell environment. So you can go to the PowerShell and you can try creating a storage account. I hope you people remember the commands. Let's go for PowerShell here. Okay, so here I will just go here and I'll run the commands. Make sense here. So the command is going to be new. I'm going to create a Azure storage account. So new hyphen Azure RM storage account, right? And the resource group name, I'm going to call it here. Or give me a moment. I don't think I have a resource group. So first, let me log in and I'll create a Azure storage account. So login hyphen Azure RM account. Yes. So here I will create a new resource group named as new hyphen Azure RM resource group hyphen name. Okay, let's say I will put it as Edureka 523 new resource group. Okay, so this is going to be my name and I'll put it on location named as Southeast Asia. So this resource group has been created and now I will create a storage account new hyphen Azure RM storage account. Okay, with the resource group name. Let's call the resource group. It's going to be Edureka 523 new resource group. So that's my resource group name, and I will say the name of the storage account as well. So the name of the storage account is going to be Edureka 523 storage. Okay, and let's give the location. Location is your Southeast Asia that we have, and you can also call the kind of the storage that you have. So you say kind, okay, storage, and it's going to be it's going to be a just a normal storage. I hope you can find it on screen. See, you have storage, you have seconds, storage v2, and you have the blob storage. So I will say that I'm going to create just a storage account, and I have something called as SKU name, which is uh, it's going to be locally redundant or geo redundant, all these things. So I will say it's going to be locally redundant storage. Or you can even say that I would go for a geo-redundant storage. So let's go for SKU name, and here I will keep it updated as standard geo-redundant storage so that I can show you the couple of data center regions that it supports. Let's click on this and I will say create it. Yes. So the storage account has been created now. You can find it on the screen. We have this particular storage account which has been created with the Edureka 533 new resource group, and you have the REST endpoint here. The REST endpoint that you can find for this is, let me give me one moment. Yep, the better thing is that we can go for the storage account and you can find it. So I will go for the storage account. I will go for resource groups. And in the resource groups, you can find the new resource group, Edureka 533 new resource group. And see, here I have the storage account. So when I click on the storage account, you can find two different data center regions. See, the primary available, secondary is also available. It's going to be Southeast Asia and East Asia, which is the another one. So that's how you can create a storage account with a container. Okay, and when you click onto this, see, we have blobs, files, tables, and queues. That's a normal storage account that you have. You can also create an Azure storage a context for this, okay, which means that it's going to be runtime credentials. So after you create your storage account, you can create a storage a context object, let's say from PowerShell itself, and then you can create a container using the same. Okay, so the context should be having the permissions, what it has to do as such. Any questions? Any questions, guys? Are you all there? Okay, thanks, Harsha. Thanks for acknowledging. So the next thing that I would do is I will create a runtime credential, okay, which is creating a context. So what I will do is I will quickly go here and I'll give the credential saying it as I need to create an Azure storage context. So what I will do is I'll go for resource group. I'll just specify the parameter first. Resource group equal to, let's say it's going to be Edureka. What's the name we gave? Edureka 533 new resource group, right? Yep. So this one, and then I would say the storage account. So storage account equal to new hyphen Azure RM storage account with the resource group name. So I have set the resource group and I will call the variable which is resource group that I mentioned before. So I'll say this and then it should ask for the name and the SKU version, all these things. So it's running the script. Yes. Now it asks for name. Let's give a name as new sample container that we have. And the SKU name, I would say that I will go for standard locally redundant this time. So locally redundant storage, LRS, and location would be South India. So this should get added up with a variable called storage account. And then you can call the context to the variable called as, let's say, a variable context $ctx is equal to the storage account that you have assigned now with the context. Yes, I could see some question. Can we even select the replication while creating the storage account? Yes, Chandra, you can create the replication type while you create the storage account. Rishabh, I will be working on the options that you have. I will be working on the CDN and all these things. Let me go with step by step. Okay, I am exploring now with the PowerShell. I will go for the other things as well. Please wait for me. So this has been created, and now let's go for the context. So I will say context equal to storage account dot context. Yes, so this context has been created. And now to create a container, you can just simply say, I'll give container name equal to Edureka container 01. Okay, so this is going to be the variable for the container name. And now let's call all the scripts that we have to create a new storage container. Yes. So let's say new hyphen Azure RMs, sorry, Azure storage container itself should work. Yes. So Azure storage container, and I will go for naming it. So the name will be what I have given at the previous context. So it's going to be container name variable, and let's call the context. So the context is going to be CTX. Okay, the one which we have already, and permission. Let's give the permission as container now. Okay, so when I give this, you should find the container should get created. I hope you can find it. So the new sample container.blob.co.windows.net, this has been created. So this is how you can create a container using your PowerShell environment. Now the same I will show you on the slides. See, so we are at a blob storage service, okay, where we are going to create an object storage. And to put up all these unstructured data, we need something called as containers. So this can be accessed either by using HTTP or HTTPS. Hope you can find it on the screen. Now consider this. See, you have a blob endpoint which comes up with HTTPS new sample content.blob.co.windows.net. And you can assign this either to be in a public way or in a private as such. Okay, so the accessibility is on your hands. And way we use the blob storage is what all I said you for streaming your videos, to put up your unstructured data. Okay, to store your data for analysis. For all those things, you'd be using this storage. And this is how it looks like. Your blob service components would be having a storage account, and inside that you would be having a container. You will be having different sort of blobs. There is a block blob, page blob, append blob. Okay, the block blob is where you're going to store your unstructured data. That is your, let's say that you create a container as pictures and movies, and there you can put up pictures separately and movies separately. So that's what you can see it on screen. And the blob service also comes up with other things like append blob. I will show you here. The append blob is for append operations that you have it on your operating system layer. The page blob is to take a backup of whatever you have. So it's like you take .vht backup, right? So that can be done using page blob. So this is for paging. Well, let me get into detail. See, this blob has up to 50,000 blocks which it gets created, and it can go for slightly more than up to 4.75 TB in size. Okay, and that writes as 100 MB, which is going to be a block for each and every segmentation. And 100 MB into 50,000 is the maximum that it can write it across. The same you have it for the append operations. It's up to 195 GB. Okay, and it can make a slots of 4 MB in each. And this is for append operations that you have. This can be used for, let's say, a diagnostic storage account or anything where it collects the logs and it can heal up automatically. Page blob is where if you want to take a backup of a OS, or if you want to take a backup of a data disk and you want to attach it towards a newly created VM, then you will be using this page blob. That's your virtual hard disk that you would be having it there. Now we are here. This is what the demo that we are going to perform for today. Okay. So I have done with creating a container using PowerShell, and now I am going to move for something called as portal. So let's go for portal here. and I'll create a container using portal. So I'm already here at the storage account, right? Still, I will try creating a new storage account. I'll say create a storage account. Let's go for storage, and I'll click on the storage account, which is blobs, files, tables, and queues. Here, let's name the storage account as Edureka Storage. Oh, that's already taken by someone. Let's say CodeSizzler Storage. And deployment model is going to be your resource manager that you have. And account kind, it can be a general purpose v1. You can hope you can find the screen. If it's general purpose, it comes up with a performance layer. Either it's going to be a managed disk or unmanaged disk as such. Okay. And you to have the secure transfer required, which is the encryption and decryption that you're going to communicate with it. If it's going to be a V2, when you say V2, you would be having these things as hot tier and the cool tier. And then you would be having blob storage, which is just a blob. Okay, not the other things. Let me go for this storage general purpose one. I'll select the data center region as Southeast Asia, and replication will be locally redundant this time. Performance, let it be a standard one. Okay, and resource group, I'll put it on a existing resource group, which is Edureka 533 new. As I told you before, you can also put up a separate virtual network environment for your storage account. So that's virtual networks that we have. Let's click on create and get it done. Please repeat the purpose of having VNet in the storage account. Okay. Hi Rishabh. I hope you know why we need a VNet, right? VNet is that you would be having an isolation. You don't want other resource to be integrated, to be added up with the virtual network that you have it as a common one. So here, why we use a virtual network integration for Azure Storage, or let's even say this Azure SQL database, all this, you would be having a separate service endpoint. And for your customers, you can run your business critical data, that is your Azure data analysis or the data that reaches to a top concern, right? You can use this virtual network environment where the internet reachable IP addresses can communicate with each other, and the credentials or the let's say some malicious attacks that you would be having towards the data will not be possible, okay, when you make it on a separate virtual network environment. I mean, like, when you put up a storage account as a common one, and when you have it dedicatedly on your own network, let's say if it's going to be at a hybrid cloud model, you would be having at your own network managed with it, okay, and there you will be having no chances where other services can get added up into it. Okay, so there will be no point where there will be chances of leaking credentials or anything like that. You're just going to access your own. And this can also come up with I mean the subnet adding up your functionalities into your VNet. So if it's going to be like huge in count, let's say for data lake store or data warehouse, something like that, you're going to use this storage account, then you can just configure the subnets here and you can call the storage accounts over there. That's it. It makes your work to be simple. Are you clear? Okay, cool. Yes. So here goes my storage account. Let me get into that. CodeSizzler storage. Yes. So you can find that I have blobs, files, tables, and queues. I have a primary data center region alone since it's locally run in storage, which is Southeast Asia. And here the activity log is, it takes the logs of whatever happens on your storage account. Okay, you can have a metrics about it. You can also download the files. You can put it towards OMS using logs. Access control is your role-based access control. We'll be speaking about this in further modules. You have tags where you can tag it. That's a naming tag that you have. And you can diagnose and solve the problems automatically. So this is like you are going to communicate with Azure to get support. And Storage Explorer is a new option that Azure is coming up with. We have a tool called Storage Explorer. We will be working on it. And here Azure has integrated that tool into your, portal environment itself. And the access keys is the access key that you have for your storage account. So you can call the access keys on the application file that you're going to develop. And the course that you have. So the course is an HTTP feature that comes up with what all the headers that has to be allowed for each and every service, like your blobs, files, tables, and queues. Configuration is the next bit that we have. Configuration will let you know about the cost for your storage account. That depends, like what it's going to be. If you want to add an AD, what replication pattern you're going to use. Okay, the one which you have already configured will be provisioned over here. Next is your security layer, how your encryption and decryption happens here. And if you need your own key to be added up, you can add that as well. You have shared access signature. Shared access signature will generate the SAS tokens for a specific period of time alone. Okay, and same you have networking as virtual networks, firewall networks, all these things. You have threat protection all. Let me get into these topics as I go. Okay, and now I have created this storage account, and there I have a container. Let me go to that container. So I'll go for overview, and I'll create a container here using Azure portal. So let's go for blobs, and let's create a container. I'll click on container. I'll name this container. Let's name this Edureka container 01. And let's click here. You can find different sort of access. So you have private, where no anonymous access can be given. You have blobs, that's anonymous read access for the blobs alone. There is the particular blob. Let's say here, where I have a blob called as image 01, that alone can be read. And container is any people, any anonymous people can read it. Okay, so I will say container, and let's click on OK. So this has been created, and inside this container, I can upload the files. So give me a second, I will upload some files and I will show you what is anonymous access and what is the private access that you have. So let's click on upload, and I will just upload it over here. Let's say I will go for this file. Okay, I will upload this file, and in the advanced you can find the blob types that you have. That's your blob, page blob, append blob, and what sort of file it's going to be. You can make all those functionalities over here. Now let me click on upload to get it uploaded. So this has been uploaded now. And when you click on this blob file on the container, you can find the path here. Let's copy this, and I'll put it here. You get the image. Now, in case if it is going to be something called as, let's say that it's going to be on a private, what you can do is you can go for the blobs. Okay, you can select the blob here, and you can go for access policy, change the access policy here. Let's change it for private, which is no anonymous access, and I'll click on save. Now let's try refreshing this. See, you don't have the access for it. So that's the difference. That makes the sense between the blob and the files that you have. Any questions until this? Of course, Karthik, whatever you have as data disk is nothing but the storage accounts. Let me show you here. See, when you go for, I have a resource group named as lab VM. Yes, in this resource group, you have lab VM, right? And you have something called as OS disk. You can get into this OS disk, and you can find, see, it's a standard hard disk. Okay. that has IOPS limit. It's nothing but a storage account that you have. Is that okay? And you would be having another one as well called as diagnostic storage accounts. That is this one. You can find it here. See that's where your logs get saved. You can find it. You can go to the blobs. You can find all the logs which get saved here. Can we give access for specific users or groups? You can add it for specific users who are there available on the Active Directory, or let's say even for the groups using SAS tokens, Rajiv. We will be working on that. We have the module for today, okay, where we will be working on that. Any other questions? Now to get, do we need to select blob or any other type, or it would pick the on the basis of the data uploaded? See, you need to define it. It will not pick it based on data that you upload. You have to define it as you have to predefine it as a blob or page blob or append blob. Where the logs are going to store. Of course, in the storage account, Tarak, in your same storage account only. Okay, I will go for the PowerShell and I will show you how you can list out the storage account. So you can just say get hyphen Azure RM storage account. So this will list out all the storage accounts that you have. Yes, so here you can find the storage accounts, right? And you can try listing out the blobs. So what I can do is I would say that get hyphen Azure storage blob, okay? And I would say it's from container. You can say container and space. I would call the container here, okay? So my container name, let's say that it could be the one which we, or let's say that get hyphen Azure as storage blob. This should even work. That makes simple. Yeah, it's asking for the container name. So I hope you guys remember we have given the container name here as, wait, I will go here, I will show you. New sample container. Okay, I will go for this one. Here only I have uploaded some data, right? Blobs, not here. Okay, CodeSizzler is here. Yep, so we have it here. I will say edu container 01. So it's running the script. Let's wait for it. It says could not get the storage context. Okay, we need to declare the context, right? Okay. Well, better we shall do one thing. I will say get hyphen Azure RM storage. Okay. Get hyphen Azure RM storage account. So resource group name, CodeSizzler. No, not this one. The storage account name is Edureka something, right? Let me check it. Yeah, Edu 533. New resource group. So this will list out. This will list out the storage accounts that I have on that particular resource group. Yes, so I'm getting these details here. Okay, the storage accounts which I own. Won't store any physical drive. Tarek, we will do that. Okay, it's going to store it, and for that we need to use files. Okay, not blobs. Blobs is for unstructured data. Okay, the to store any data from your physical drive, all these things we will do only files. Is that okay? Well, I wish you guys could perform this demo so that we can go for the next topic. Yeah, we have some question. How can we see the file uploaded to PowerShell? So that's what container is nothing but you have the files, right? So that's what you're listing out here. You would say get hyphen Azure Blob. Wait, let me check. Azure. One sec. You can go for view. You can go for command line environments. One sec. Yeah, command add-ons. Let's search for blobs. Yeah, get Azure Storage Blob. Get hyphen Azure Storage Blob content. Okay, so it asks for a blob name. You need to give the blob name. Say, for example, I would give the blob name here as, yep, this one. I will give it as edu container 01. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not a blob name. This is the blob name. Okay, the one which you have inside. You need to give this name. I'm sorry about it. So you can give this name and the container name so that it will list the things that you have inside that. Is that okay, Rishabh? Yes, Karthik. It's similar to the SharePoint service what you have. How can we get the blob name in PowerShell? Getting your blob name, you should try with. Okay, give me one sec. Let me break this operation. Okay, so get hyphen Azure. Let's check it here. So I given get Azure Storage Blob, it's asking for the container name. Let's say edu container 01. Could not get the context. Please pass. Okay, we need to pass the context. So for that, I can try this, the context which I created before. Right? So I have it here. Now what I will say is, I will just say that get the same account get hyphen Azure and storage blob. Okay, storage blob, and the container name if you have it there, and we can call the context as well. So ctx. So you need to call this context. Give me one sec. So the command for this would be like you need to call get Azure Storage Blob with the container name. So call the container. You would be having container name variable. So call the container name variable here, and then call the context. Okay. So the context is nothing but your ctx. So you just give a variable, call the variable here, right? So there's no blob inside that, and so it's not listing out. Are you clear? Are you clear, Rishabh, now? No, it has not failed. Can you find it on screen? It has, I think we had a blob name. Which is my blob name? What are you saying this one? Edureka container 01. You mean this one? Wait, I will show you once again. See, first we need to set a variable, right? So I will say container name 1 equal to, okay. So I would say that this container name 1 will be edu container 01. Okay, edu container 01. And I have the variable, sorry, right. Now, let's try running this. So this is how it will list out. If you have the files, you will get it done. How we can get the context from your Azure portal? Yes. See, getting your context is nothing but you're going to set the things saying that this would be my permission level. Okay, setting up the storage account context, all these things. So for this, what you need to do is that you don't have anything called as context, but you just go for access policy and you would say it over here. Let me make it as container. Okay, and this is how you will give the context on your storage account from your Azure portal. So if it's going to be on PowerShell, then you will run this command. Okay, give me one sec. I'll just check this. I would say get hyphen Azure or Azure Storage Blob content, the container, this container name and context. The blob name what I have here is okay. Rishabh, give me a second. Let me check this and I will keep you posted. Okay, I am getting some error here. I'll check this and I will keep you posted. Is that okay? Yeah. Well, so try with this and let me know if you have any questions, please. If not, we shall go for the next one. A storage account has multiple locations. A VM can be created in two different locations based on storage account. Yeah, you can create it. See, one VM cannot be created in two different storage, two different accounts, locations. Okay, so there can be two VMs. Okay, and by the same time, you cannot attach the disk towards multiple virtual machines. You need to attach it and you need to detach it. Okay, so if it's running on one machine, you need to detach it. Is that okay? Are you clear, Karthik? The storage account is. Karthik, I have answered your question. Let me know if you're still not clear about it. Okay, I would go for the next question by Tarak. What is meant by acquire lease? Okay, see, acquire lease is that whenever you take up a blob, right? When you take up a lease for the blob, you can set a duration. Okay, let's say that the duration can be like 20 seconds or 30 seconds or 1 minute, something like that, where others cannot modify or others cannot delete the blob. Let's say if it has been shared on towards a resource group domain. Most commonly, you will be using this to put your page props. Like, let's say you're going to take a backup and you put it on a virtual machine, okay? And you don't want your, other resource people to access the same one to make any sort of changes. So you can put a acquired lease and you can put it for 1 day or 2 days of time when it comes for a backup operation that you're going to perform here. Are you clear, Karthik? Karthik, I told you an example with a virtual machine taking a backup. Sorry, Tarek. Are you able to understand, Tarek? Lease state is, see, lease status is nothing but what has happened to a particular blob. And the lease state says that whether it's going to be state in nature or stateless in nature, okay, either any Azure worker rules has been added to it or not, okay. So those things are the one which says about lease status, sorry, lease state. So it can be a stateful or it can be stateless, and you need to lock the blob where others should not make any sort of changes into it. Yeah. Okay. Well, take some 10 minutes of time. Try completing this demo. Okay, creating blob and containers in your Azure Storage, and then we can go for the next demo, please. Okay, Rishabh. Let's take a break, Rishabh. Okay, fine. Let's break for 15 minutes. No problem. But please make sure that your people will do the demo. Okay, so that you would be getting more questions, and that would be easy for us to discuss about. Yep. Hi Sandeep, not able to upload file into the container. Blob committed to Blobs reference conform to this request not intentions is not okay, cool Sandeep. Tarak, you need to go for web platform installer. Check whether you have done this web platform installation. Go for web platform installer. Do you have this tool on the machine? Check it. Or give me one sec. Just go for azure.microsoft.com. Go for resources, go for more and find resources. You can scroll down here, go for downloads, and again scroll down. You can find PowerShell there, PowerShell Windows install. So download this and install it. And once after you install it, you can find a plugin for cross-platform as well. You need to install that also. What is the name for cross-platform plugin? Just search for cross-platform plugin. He's not getting the intelligence, it seems, Rishabh. Shall we go for the next topic? Rishabh is not getting the intelligence on the PowerShell. You know the intelligence, right? When you run some commands, you will get intelligence. See, this is intelligence. He is not getting that, it seems. Yeah. Well, so let's go for, yeah, that's what I have told him. Install the cross-platform message. Okay, I will go for the next topic. So the next one that we have here is about the SaaS. So I have something called as shared access signature. The shared access signature will allow you to access the files that you have for a specific period of time alone. Let's say that I can access my blobs, I can access my files, tables, and queues or anything by getting a key token which will be valid for a short period of time alone. Okay, so I will provide the service level agreement here saying that this key would be valid for read operation, write operation, or it can do both read and write, and it can be available for this much amount of time as such. So you need to upload those things. Once when you provision up all those things, then the blobs can work based on, I mean, any of the service, not just the blobs. Any of the service can work based on the SaaS token level of agreement what you have given there. So sharing will be always restricted. Okay. Whereas when you give the access keys, you will be able to access it widely. So you have a couple of things. Here you can find the architecture. Without SaaS, if you're giving the user an access, he can access all sort of data. I mean, all sort of blobs, containers, and everything. Whereas when you provide a SaaS token, you're going to give a safer zone where you're going to say that only these things can be accessed by the particular user as such. So let's go for a couple of demos. One is setting up the metadata, and the second one is to explore about how a SaaS token is working on. Let's go to the Azure portal here. So here we have this Azure portal, and in the Azure portal, I will go for the storage account, and you can do the meta tagging. Okay, that is, you can click on edit metadata, and you can give the key value pair that you need. Okay, so this will help you to save the metadata, and you can call it on other blobs if you would like to go with it. So let's go for blobs. You can click here, you can find metadata. See, edit metadata, and you can edit the name and the value here. Joyrup, we are just after the break. We just completed the break. And the next thing that you have here is you can scroll down, you can find something called access keys. So this is what I told. If you have access keys, then you can access any sort of access keys, okay? Sorry, any sort of files which are available within the blobs or files, or let's say simply on a storage account. Now you too have something called a SaaS token. So I'll go for shared access signature, and here you can find that we have different sort of services. I have blobs, files, tables, queues, all these things. So I can select the one which I need. Okay, I can do those things. And I can say the permissions that I have. Either I'm going to give it to the read write, or it's only going to be add. Excuse me. Or let's say the other things like the start date and the expire date when the key should be available as such. So you can give all these things, and you can say generate SAS and the connection string. You will get the keys here. See, we get it individually for each and everything. I hope you guys are getting it. Any questions on this? Okay. You need to call it on the user application, Rishabh. Let's say you're going to build a .NET application. On your .NET application, you would be having a web config. So normally you would be giving your access key on your web config. Here, instead of the web config file, I mean, instead of the access key, you need to give this particular key. So let's say that I'll copy this blob. See, if it is on a public level of access, you can just say go here. It's not a public level of access, so it's denied. Now, this key works. This key works, not the storage account name, but this key works. Are you clear? Any questions, Rishabh? No, keys the admin should generate it. It will not be available for all users. Until you generate it, it will not be available for all users. So when you regenerate your access key, you must update any resource and applications that access that will be given to the storage account. So additionally, any existing SaaS tokens will also be need to regenerate for each and every time. Rishabh, but what if one user connected at 8 and second at 10? Of course, see, you're going to update the key, right? You're going to update it on the application. If the key gets regenerated, if the key gets changed, of course, the application will say that you're out of timing. Okay, you have a session timed out, and you need to update the key once again. You would have seen that the messenger on your phone, all these things gets logged out automatically. It says the session has been expired and you need to log in again. So when there is an update like NuGet package of updates or anything like that, then they will reconfigure the scene. They will ask you to reconfigure the scene. Is that okay, Rishabh? Yeah. Hi Raju. Should we share these keys to the end customer who want to access this? Of course, you need to share it on the application file, Raju. Yeah. Any other questions? Well then. So the next sort of thing that you have here is that you have something called as Azure storage account that will come up with a storage explorer. So let's go here to make sense about the storage explorer. The storage explorer is where when you go for the overview, you can find here as open in explorer. You can click on yes and you can open it on the explorer. So this is how your explorer looks like. And to download the explorer, you can go for storageexplorer.com. Okay, let me check this. Give me one sec. Uh, yeah, it's due to a sign in. Okay, I forgot this password. Let's keep this on hold. I will go for the other one that you have. I mean, I will do it from the virtual machine, not from the Mac environment. So let's go here. I will say that I need to go for a storage explorer. So I will open a new tab and I will go for storageexplorer.com. You can click on download after selecting the platform here. So let's go for downloads. I have Storage Explorer. You can install this. Let's wait until it gets done. Any questions meanwhile? Okay, so let's click on finish and the Storage Explorer gets launched here. Okay, so I'll go for signing in here. Let's click here and I'll sign in. Let's add an account. So using an Azure account. Now you can make sense here. See, in case if I have this access key, still I can sign in. I can copy this access key. I'll say that I have storage account name and a key. I will click on next. Display name. I'll say this. This is my display name. Account name is this, and the key. I will copy the key from here. Right. So let's see all these things. Let's click on connect. And then, okay, so it's asking you to sign in for storage. Yes, can you find this CodeSizzler storage? And for that, we also generated a SAS token. You can find it here. You can find blobs. Okay. And inside the blobs, you can find the files. Now, there's something called directory that you can create within this file. So you can select a particular service and you can create directory. Say, for example, I can select this service and I can say that I can add it to a folder. Can you find this new folder? And I'll name it as images. I can click on OK. So now when you go for the containers, you would be able to find something called images. Okay, give me 1 second. Let's refresh this. Yeah, so here you can find as a default you can find something called as contain I mean this blob, and you too have something called as containers. Okay, I will try refreshing this so that I can show you. Yes, so there's something called Edureka container, and inside Edureka container you have images. Okay, see here. Okay, I will help you to do it here. Click on the container name, and here you can say that you would put a new folder. Give me 1 sec, let me check this. I'm missing out something here. Let's sign in. I'll go for sign in option. Okay, so let's click on apply, and here you can find I have storage accounts. So let's go for any of the storage account. Okay, for example, this storage account, edu container. So inside this edu container 01, I can create a new folder. Let's name the folder as images. Okay, so in container 01, you have something called as images, and that images, inside that images, you can upload the data. So let's say upload files, and you can upload it. I hope you're getting the point, guys. Any questions? Let me know if you have any questions, please. Rishabh, are you there? Hey, hey all, are we connected? Okay, cool. So the next thing that we have is something called a CDN. Okay, CDN is nothing but a content delivery network that you have. Yes, some question. Asha, image folders will be visible. Asha, I don't know. There's some problem with a VM or what as such. Give me one sec. I can show you that. Should be able to find it. There's some problem going on with the storage explorer. Okay, so what you guys can do is you just go here and you make sense from this option. Let's say go for storage explorer preview. So select a container, and from here you should find the files. I mean the folder, all these things. Okay, let me try creating a folder so that at least here we can find. Edureka. Click on OK. Right, so in Edu container, you have this folder called as Edureka. It should be visible actually here. I don't know why it's not visible, but you should be able to find it over here. Okay, I need to check this because there are a lot many changes that Azure has come up. You can even find it. Maybe they would be working on it. You can find the portal for I mean for VM is also changed now. See, I will go for Windows Server and say this UI has also changed. So Microsoft is working on some updation. Maybe that would be a problem. Okay, yeah. So maybe you can try it sometime later. It might be because of cache or anything, but you can find that there is a folder created. See, there is a folder which gets created, and inside that folder you can upload your files. You can say upload, and you can upload your files here. Is that okay? Yep. Well, the last service that you guys have here is something called as in storage. You have is the CDN. CDN is your content delivery network. Okay. Azure has their own CDN services across the globe, and they also outsource the business with services like Akamai, okay, with Verizon, all these guys. So what you can do here is instead of uh, calling your data each and every time from the master data center, where you would be having a latency, you can just go up with having a CDN which sits in front of your Azure storage account, and it is there on a edge location, and that will take care about how your things has to be monitored, how your things has to work across all these things. Okay, so if the CDN does not have the information, then your request will be routed towards the master data center. So the CDN is ideally there to send all your metadata or all your unstructured data. Okay, it might be any sort of data that you have, like videos or images, anything, and you can load these files faster, and you can save this to the customers. So this will increase the speed. This will increase the speed and the availability that you have for your customers. The better performance for your apps and the services that we have, or for the global distributed network, for all these things, you'll be using your Azure CDN here. Let's get into the detailed one. This is how your Azure CDN works. When an end user gives a request, I hope you can find the architecture figure. When the end user sends a request, there's going to be something called as point of presence, and from the point of presence, you'll be getting the data from the origin server if it's not there. If the data already has the content on its edge, I mean like point of presence, then the user can just consume the data from there itself. So consider, for example, a CDN will be provisioned as once when a data is going to be requested by the end user, it will check in the CDN. If the data is not there in the CDN, it's going to call from the master data center, and that data will be available on the CDN. Now, if a person B from the same location also calls for the same data, then the request will be responded from the CDN itself. And this will be available only for a particular period of time, let's say 2 days or 3 days of time, what you configure. And after 3 days of time, what will happen here is that the data what you have in the CDN will get lost. Now let's take up an example. If the person B is going to hit the data which is there on the CDN, okay, by the second day, then you can also provision it as for the data would be available for the next 24 hours as such. So it's based on the hit that you're going to access the data. Okay, so it will all leave as per the TTL whether it's available or it got expired as such. So the major work of CDN is that it all works with how how your point of presence has been configured. You can go to the storage explorer and you can say, yeah, storage accounts. You can select any of the storage account here. Scroll down, go for shared access signature and create a new shared access. Sorry, scroll down, go for CDN and create a new CDN. So you have Azure CDN, click on it and go for add a new CDN. New. Okay, now I will say that I will put a CDN profile named as Edureka CDN. So that's a content delivery network. Pricing tiers, I told you that Microsoft was previously outsourcing with Akamai and Verizon, and now Microsoft also have their own data centers. So these guys can do geo-filtering, they can do the core analytics steps, all these things. Let me select this. I can click on select, and CDN endpoints value is your Azure Edge.net. Let's give a predefined name for this. I'll name it as Edureka, and this is the origin name. The origin is where it says that the data has to be retrieved from this location. You can click on create to get it created. Rishabh, yes, the branch cache, and this is same. Well, so this gets created, the CDN, and after it gets created, you can find it will have endpoint URL. Let's wait until it gets done. Hey Rishabh, so CDN works with all storage types. CDN also works with web apps all, not just with storage, Rishabh. Yeah, now it works on blobs, files, tables, and queues. But ideally, CDN can work with web apps as well. Web apps, cloud services, okay? Yeah. Let's go here. I will check whether the CDN has been created. Still, it's getting created. Yeah. So let's get into this invalid link endpoint. Let's go for resource groups. See here we have the story CDN. So you can go to the CDN, you can find the links here. You can add an endpoint, clicking on endpoint, and you can add it. Okay, you can give the path name, all these things. So the origin type, you can find it here. It supports for storage, it supports for web app, all these things. Is that okay? Hey guys, any questions? Okay, thanks, Rishabh. Well, so the further thing I mean we have is the files, okay, which someone was asking about. Files I already discussed about it. It's a SMB protocol, okay. It is used to share the files between the on-premise machine and the cloud machine what you're running across. So you can just put up a files from a machine and you can say that I need to share this on a local environment or even at a cloud virtual machine as such. So now consider this as my local machine. Okay, and here I'm going to create a file share. I can go for my Azure portal. Let's go to the Azure portal here. And here in this Azure portal, you can go for the storage accounts. So click on storage accounts. Yeah. So I will say that I will go for the one which we have. Okay. So let's move ahead and I will say this CodeSizzler str. And inside this, I will go for files. Let's go for files here. Let's click on file share. So here I am going to create a file share. Let me name the file share as Edureka, and quota it's going to be 10 GB. Let's click on create to get it created. Right. So let's select this, and once when you select this, you can get into it. You can find the option called connect. You have connect here. Click on connect. You will get this command. Copy this command. Okay. So this gives you the access with the storage account name, the access key, all these things. I'll open Notepad now. Let's paste this. Okay. And once when we paste this, you can find that I have the account name, storage account name. This is my file's name, and you have the key as well. Let's copy all these things. Maybe I will change the drive letter alone for O. Let's copy all these things. I'll run it on command prompt. So it says the command has been completed successfully. Now you can go for File Explorer. Let's go for this PC, and you should find here. See, Edureka is there. So that's what we call it as file share. You should have seen the Dropbox, Google Drive, all these things on your machines. Now let's copy some file. Let's say I will copy from downloads. Okay, I'll copy this CodeSizzler India, and I will put it on the Edureka file share. So let's paste it here. And once when we paste this, you can go here, click on refresh. You can find the data would be there. So that's how your file works. Your file helps you to share the machines, I mean, between the on premise and the cloud machine. And you can also share the data between different resources. Is that okay? Any questions? All resources are independent to resource group and multiple other things. One would get to know the details only if we created instance. But what when an environment is already set up and are now joined to that environment? All resources are independent to resource group and multiple other things. Yeah, that's right. One would get to know the details only if we created it since beginning. But what about it is already set up and we are new to join that? Things need to consider in mind. It's not about considering very basic level research. See, whenever we allocate it, let's say for example, I'm going to allocate this dashboard for you. Okay, I can just go for all resources. You can find the resource whatever you have here. They make the splits. They say what type of resource you have here as such. Let's say storage account or virtual network, anything as such. I no need to provision anything. Azure will do everything for me. Is that okay? Let me know if you have any questions, please. I mean, do we get any Visio for all relations? No, we don't get anything as such. That's not available here, Rishabh. Hey, Asha, can we use it as server as well? Yes, you can use it as file server as well and we use it for a short period of time alone. What in case if something, I mean, some data loss or anything happens there? Any other questions? Yeah, Harsha, you have raised your hand. Okay, cool then. So that's all about storage, what you have for you guys. Okay. Uh, as usual, you have time for demo. Okay. Just go to the demo and let me know if you have any questions, please. Storage accounts are just to have the VM license, but because we had all storage types available on Windows or any other OS as well. It's not just to save the VM license, Rishabh, actually. You can even consider the same when you go for some e-commerce or cart application, something like that. You need to store your data and you have to stream that, isn't it? Consider Hotstar even, right? So those guys would be using the storage accounts. It's not just into licensing alone. I mean, they can have user service to the storage accounts. Yes, they can also use as a service environment because the disk performance, what you do, attaching the disk, solid state drive, hard disk drive, so it's all reflects to the same point to what you be. Probably, I could say that that's one sort of scenario where you can use the storage accounts. See, benefits of storage account is that when you create it on a virtual machine, anytime you can take a backup and you can put it on some other machine which is running as well, right? Whereas that you cannot do it at a hard disk. I mean, it's not like easy for you when you do it in on premise. You cannot keep it on multiple data center regions all. So those are the advantages that we have. You can take a backup as a VHD file and you can connect as a page blob to any of the virtual machine even later. Any other questions? Hi Tarak. Yes, regarding PowerShell, what's your question about PowerShell? I can able to run the commands from my account. What when we create a VM, what kind of storage will get created? Data engines. Tarak, you should install the cross-platform. Only then the intelligence will work. Check that place. And if you have installed it, still if it's not working, try restarting your machine. Here, Shah, when we create a VM, what kind of storage would get created? The normal storage which gets created is a locally redundant storage that you would be having, or a geo-redundant storage. It's completely based upon like what sort of size that you're using, what size of data disk you're using, what specification, what data center region, and the subscription that you own as well. So it depends upon all those things. Rishabh, cross-platform tool is not just only for other OS as such. It is for resource manager as well. Only if you're installing that, the resource manager commands will also work. Yeah, when it gets installed, it gets failure. What's the error status that you're getting, Tarak? So the following products have failed to install. Try restarting the machine, Tarak. He is not having that, Rishabh. Tarak, can you check that if your PowerShell has the resource manager module which is installed? Go to Web Platform Installer and search for PowerShell ISE and check whether it has been installed or not. Any other questions? Yeah, right. Or you can even search as Windows PowerShell over there. Yep, Rishabh, we are done for the day apart from it. So that's about storage, and followed by this, you would be having SQL database for the next module, Azure SQL database, and how to maintain backups on Azure SQL database, all those things. What should be the subnet if I want to add storage? I can put all the VMs in virtual network. If I want to add subnet should be the one. Subnet, the virtual machines, the group of virtual machines, what you have should be available on a same VNet. Okay, I mean on a VNet, it should be available on same subnet. So you should call that subnet only when you create this storage account. Direct not at add or remove programs in your start menu. You should have something called as web platform installer. If it's not there, you should go for azure.microsoft.com, and from there you should go for resource. Download Windows PowerShell from there. We discussed that by the day one itself, Tarak. Please go for, see, even today I showed that. Go for azure.microsoft.com and try to do that. If you have downloaded it, then install it. If so, take a screenshot and send it for support@edureka.co, Tarak. We will get in touch with what the error is as such. Because I don't know what you're doing. Or I will make you as a presenter. At least try to share the screen. We have done this for a lot many times. I'll make you presenter. Can you do that? Okay. Yep. Share your screen, please. I asked you to go with PowerShell, Tarak. I did not ask you to go with Cloud Shell. This is not PowerShell ISE. Go for Start. Search for Web Platform Installer. See, you have Microsoft Web Platform Installer. Go to that. Search for PowerShell. Did you click on the Enter button? Okay. In, install this one as well. Microsoft Azure PowerShell. You can find the fourth one. Install that. Accept. Click on Finish. Yes. Your product. Excuse me. You had a error. What was that error? Boss, can you give me at least the control for your machine? Tarak, we are waiting for you, Tarak. Please make it something good. Can you give the control for the machine or do something, please? At least did you see the error, what the error it was? I, I did not get the control. I'm not able to do anything. Okay, Tarak, I don't think, I mean, go to any browser at least. Go for some browser. Open a new tab. Go for github.com slash github.com / CodeSizzler. Yeah. Go for repositories. Click at UST. Go for day one. You have a document called lab VM CodeSizzler. Check the document and try to follow the same. Try to create a VM with PowerShell. That should work. I don't know what the error is. You did not even notice the error. So probably maybe due to your operating system, still you're at Windows 8. Maybe that would be a reason. Okay. Go ahead, try creating a VM and from there you can work. Then it's your OS problem. Okay, you should have Windows 10 then. Hi Sandeep. When we create VM, where the VHD of 127 GB store blob or file. If disk is manageable, then I can't see the VHD. If disk is unmanaged, I think we could see in file. Is that right? You're right, Sandeep. So if it goes to be a managed disk, Azure creates it and Azure maintains it. Okay, it's not on your hands. You no need to worry about it. So all those things like creating the allocation, fragmentation, all these things, Azure will take care. Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions? Well, guys, if you're done with the demo, please do the cleanup process. Okay, go to the resource groups and do the cleanup process. Better I will do it from my VM. The storage accounts are charged. Yes, Karthik, the storage accounts are charged. It's based on how much you use it. Like, as much as the data you push in, you're going to pay for it. Hey guys, any other questions? Tarak, is that yours is done or still you're facing the issue? Okay, Tarak, let me know if it's like getting too critic. Let's even connect with TeamViewer or something later. Yep. So by that we can sign off for the day, I guess, right? Any other questions? Okay, thanks, Harsha. Thank you so much. And see you guys for the Azure SQL database by the next weekend, right? Thanks for your timing. Sure, Tarak, we shall do that. Yes. Right now, Tarak, first I would request you to create a virtual machine and follow the lab documentation. It should work on VM. And if it's on your OS, I mean on your local machine, the problem is still you're at Windows 8. The service for Windows 8 has been stopped like years back. For Windows 8, you will not get the application support. Your OS is Windows 8. You need to come for Windows 10 if you need to work on all these things. Even Visual Studio, all these things, you don't have service support in Windows 8. Thanks, Sandeep. Thanks, Joyro. Yeah. Okay, Tarak. Fine then. So try shifting your OS for Windows 10. Okay, and let me know still if you have any issues as such. Okay. Sandeep, sure. Drop me a mail at any time. Okay, I'll be super active at nights. I can reply for all your mails. Okay. Thanks, Sandeep. Thanks, people. Yep. Thanks, Tarak.